lot of women say that they regret their abortions, and had they known that they had the support of a community like a pregnancy resource center, they likely would not have made the decision that they made to have an abortion.
Welcome to Straight Talk on Life Issues. It's great to be with you today. I'm Victor Nieves, president of Life Issues Institute. You know, there are countless abortion regret stories. We know that many women feel that immediate regret as soon as they swallow the first abortion pill. Abortion pills now unfortunately account for the majority of all abortions in the United States. In 2023, chemical abortion accounted for 63% of all abortions, according to data from the Guttmacher Institute. But unlike surgical abortions, many chemical abortions can actually be reversed. An abortion pill reversal has saved thousands of babies from abortion. At Life Issues Institute, our mission is to help, educate, and protect human lives. Today, we'll be doing just that with our special guests. We're joined by Dr. Delgado. He founded the Abortion Pill Reversal Network back in 2012. He's the author or co-author of 3 different articles in the peer-reviewed literature on mifepristone and APR. We're also joined by Gabrilla McIntyr. She serves as legal counsel for Alliance Defending Freedom's Center for Life. Well, Dr. Delgado and Gabriella, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's great to be here.
Gabriella, let's jump in with you. I want to talk about the story of McKenna Green, a woman who regretted taking the chemical abortion pill. And then by the grace of God, she found the Abortion Pill Reversal Network. What can you share with us about her story?
So McKenna's story really is an incredible one, and it's not unique in terms of women who have sought out help after they've taken the first abortion drug and regretted their decision and wanted to try to reverse the life-ending effects of that mifepristone by taking supplemental progesterone. So McKenna, she had taken the abortion drug mifepristone. That's the first in the 2 abortion drug regimen, and she regretted her decision. She decided she wanted to keep her baby, and so she looked up online, how to do that, if there's any way that she could possibly do that, and she found the Abortion Pill Reversal Network, which is operated through Heartbeat International, and the women who regret their decision to take that first abortion drug and they're seeking that help, they call the network, and the network will actually put them in touch with a practitioner in their area who will help them out. In this case, McKenna was put in touch with Chelsea Minnick, who's a nurse practitioner in Colorado in her area, and Chelsea administered supplemental progesterone, and that's known as abortion pill reversal. And the reason it's known as abortion pill reversal is because it has a between 64 to 68% chance, and I'm sure Dr. Delgado can give you way more information on this, but of reversing the life-ending effects of that mifepristone if misoprostol, the second drug in the abortion drug regimen, has not yet been taken. And so that's what McKenna did. She called the Abortion Pill Reversal Network. They put her in touch with Chelsea. Chelsea administered supplemental progesterone, and now McKenna has a healthy 1-year-old baby girl walking around, and she's so grateful for that connection.
What a wonderful blessing it is. And it's important that people know that this exists, because many people in that moment, as you described with McKenna, they're afraid, they change their mind and they want that hope. But sometimes it's hard for them to find abortion pill reversal. Sometimes we've heard the horror stories of page 5 of Google, and they're looking desperately to find it. So it's a blessing that she did, and her baby was saved. And that's such a victory for us. What happened next? Because my understanding is now that the state of Colorado is bearing down on this situation.
Yeah. So next, what happened is a third party, somebody who was connected with McKenna, found out that Chelsea had administered this supplemental progesterone, and they lodged a complaint with the nursing board in Colorado. And the reason this person was able to do that is because Colorado had passed a law essentially banning the use of progesterone for this specific purpose of attempting to reverse the life-ending effects of that mifepristone. So for the specific purpose of giving a woman the choice to attempt to reverse or to end or stop the chemical abortion that she has initiated.
Why would Colorado think that it's important to stop a woman from having choice to save the life of her child? What do they have against abortion pill reversal?
Yeah, so Colorado was targeting pregnancy centers and practitioners like Chelsea Minnick and like Bella Health and Wellness, which is the other plaintiff in the case that we lodged or that we joined in on in Colorado to fight this law, especially as it pertains to pregnancy resource centers and practitioners like Chelsea, who believe it's their religious obligation if a woman comes to them and says, hey, I need help. You have the means to help me. I would like to stop the effects of this mifepristone and attempt to save my child. So that's what Colorado did. It was attempting to target these pregnancy resource centers and these practitioners for this sole purpose. And by the grace of God, actually, the court recently ruled that they weren't allowed to do that, that they cannot enforce this law against Chelsea and against Bella Health because it violates their free exercise rights.
Interesting. So for those of us who aren't as familiar with the law, it sounds like this Colorado situation, what they're doing is unconstitutional, specifically because they're targeting people based on a religious. You're saying that these individuals have a religious obligation, and I think they do, to save that baby if they can. And there's nothing dangerous, right? They're not putting this woman in any kind of unique or new danger. They're literally just helping her. Is that correct?
Right? And that's exactly what the court found, that the government had to have a compelling interest if it was going to infringe on their constitutional right to exercise their religion. And they couldn't show that. The state of Colorado could not show that progesterone supplemented to reverse the life-ending effects of mifepristone was dangerous. They couldn't point to any instances or any studies that even show that. And that's pretty typical. The abortion lobby, they like to say that it's dangerous not to continue to take the second drug in the abortion drug regimen, but they only point to statements by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, which is a partisan organization. Even that organization doesn't say that this is dangerous to a woman. In fact, it's just supplemental progesterone. It's exactly what it sounds like it is. And progesterone is a naturally occurring hormone in a woman's body. During pregnancy, she produces it, and it's been given to women for decades to help with threatened miscarriage or other sorts of things during pregnancy. There are no studies and no evidence showing that it is dangerous to a woman to take this. And in fact, there are studies showing the exact opposite, that women who have taken this drug, who have taken supplemental progesterone, are able to save their babies in some instances. And that is an incredible opportunity for women, particularly those who regret their decision and want to make the other choice, which is to try to save the lives of their children.
And I'm curious hearing this. I mean, it really does sound to me like the state of Colorado had no basis for this law. It sounded like they really had no case at all. At face value, to me, just from the outside looking in, this looks like a very blatant example of Colorado really just trying to wield power against pro-lifers.
Well, it certainly is. Some of the arguments that they lodged is that there are competing experts on both sides of the issue that say supplemental progesterone either does or does not have any efficacy or is effective in trying to reverse the life-ending effects of that mifepristone. But again, they couldn't point to any evidence showing that it's actually dangerous. All they could show is that there's a little bit of a competing expert opinion about how effective it is. But as the court rightly pointed out, there are anecdotal cases of women taking this and saving their babies. There are studies that actually do show that it's between 64 to 68% effective if taken in certain instances during the APR protocol. And so you're exactly right. The state of Colorado could not point to anything that would show that supplemental progesterone is dangerous, and exactly the opposite has been shown just through anecdotally and historically the way that progesterone has been used in pregnancies.
And do you think that this will be something of a precedent that will be repeated? Because Colorado is not the only state that has tried to go after, people who are providing abortion pill reversal. We see this on both the East and the West Coast. Do you think that this is a victory we will see repeated?
We certainly hope so. Actually, just today, one of our team members is arguing before the Ninth Circuit, where in California, they're trying to attempt to stop pregnancy resource centers and practitioners from even being able to speak about abortion pill reversal. We see the same thing in New York, where a court actually had ruled in our favor on a preliminary injunction. So they stopped the Attorney General in New York from going after pregnancy resource centers who attempt to inform women, just simply inform them that this option exists. And so we hope that this precedent will have large effects, and we're hoping that more women will learn about the opportunity that they have if they regret their decision to initiate a chemical abortion and want to try to reverse those effects.
Well, Dr. Delgado, I want to bring you into the conversation because we're kind of joined by royalty here today. Bring us back to day one and tell us about you starting the Abortion Pill Reversal Network.
Well, it really started with two women thousands of miles apart at different times who asked Dr. Matthew Harrison and myself if we could help them stop their chemical abortions. So it really arose out of a need, a request. It wasn't that we came up with the idea. And for me personally, it was 2008. I was in my family medicine office in San Diego when I got a phone call from a sidewalk counselor named Terry Palmquist, who is in Bakersfield, California. Now, Terry's not your usual sidewalk counselor. She also has a 1-800 number and a website, and she gets phone calls from all over the country. And so while she's praying in front of the abortion center in Bakersfield, she's taking calls from women who knows where. On this particular day, she got a phone call from a woman in El Paso, Texas, who asked her if she could help her stop her chemical abortion. She had taken mifepristone, had changed her mind, and wanted to save her baby. So Terry called me to seek medical advice, and I said, well, Terry, I've never heard of a case like this before. Let me give it some thought. And I had two different knowledge banks in my brain. One was I was very comfortable and experienced using progesterone in pregnancy in women who had situations called threatened miscarriage, where they were cramping and spotting, and they also had low progesterone levels. In those cases, we can give supplemental progesterone and oftentimes prevent the miscarriage. And also had studied mifepristone since even before it was approved in the US in 2000. I had an interest in it. I don't know why, but I studied a lot about it. I knew exactly how it worked by blocking progesterone receptors. And the thought came to me, kind of a Holy Spirit moment, where I thought, well, these women may not have low progesterone levels, but their progesterone is being effectively rendered neutral. It's being blocked. So perhaps I can do like I do with these other women and supplement the progesterone. Maybe the progesterone could outcompete the mifepristone at the receptor site. So I came up with a protocol on the fly, and I found a doctor in El Paso, Texas, Dr. Jonalyn Bellacura, who agreed to use that protocol. She treated the patient, and I went off on my way seeing patients that day. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from Dr. Bellacura. Dr. Delgado, the baby's still alive. So I was really happy to hear that. But being a doctor and a scientist, I knew that was just a case of one. That at that point was an anecdote. So I wasn't sure if really what I had done, what Dr. Bellacura had done, had really made a difference. But then people started hearing about the case, and they were calling me, seeking advice, and I was giving advice, telling them what we had done. And then over time, we knew about 6 cases, and that was in 2012 when we published the first peer-reviewed article in the medical literature describing these 6 cases. 4 out of 6 of the babies survived. At that point, I knew we were onto something, and I knew we had a couple of problems. One is that some women weren't hearing about this in time, and 2, we didn't have enough doctors readily available. So every time we got a call, we had to scramble around to find a doctor in that part of the country. So that's when I started Abortion Pill Reversal Network. I started the website, the 1-800 number, and started recruiting doctors into the network. And from then it grew until finally in 2018, we handed it over to Heartbeat International, which has shepherded it since.
Well, Dr. Delgado, you probably know the specifics of how this works better than anybody else in the entire world. When you hear the story that Gabriella just shared with us, and you see these examples of state governments going after people for implementing your protocol, which is literally saving lives. I mean, we've saved 7,000 plus babies have been saved through this protocol. What do you make of that? Knowing the science, knowing where this came from, why you do it, what does it feel like to see Colorado, for example, going after these doctors?
Well, my new book, Abortion Pill Reversal, A Second Chance at Choice, which is available from Ignatius Press, I talk about this a lot, and I have 2 chapters dealing with this issue. One is called David and Goliath, and the other one is called Would You Ban CPR? And essentially, this is ideologically driven because, and I quote one of the leaders of abortion research and who's attacked us quite vigorously, Dr. Daniel Grossman from UCSF. He gave an interview to Slate, an online liberal outlet, and in it he said something to the effect, well, if a woman took progesterone under medical supervision, it would be safe. First thing, he's saying that what we're doing is safe because we do it under medical supervision. First, he's saying it's safe. Then he goes on to say, however, I don't want this to be publicized because more women might think that this is an option. So that right there, bingo, is why the medical abortion complex is attacking APR so vehemently, because they know that if you know that some women change their minds after starting their chemical abortion, that blows a huge hole in the narrative that abortion is a great good for women. Because if it were a great good for all women, why would some women change their minds, right? So it's brought me to the conclusion after all this that these pro-choice leaders are not really pro-choice. They're only for one choice, and that's for abortion. They don't want women to have a second chance at choice.
Gabriella, as we have this conversation, it's just got my brain thinking. Is there a way that we as pro-lifers can kind of go on the offense on this topic? Is there anything punitive that we could do, legally speaking, to put some pressure, I suppose, on the states that do try this when they go after these people? Because it's discrimination to me. They're going after their religion. There's so much wrong with what's being done to the abortion pill reversal network, to what's being done to the individual practitioners who are trying to save lives. Is there anything in the works there? I know some of it you might not be able to talk about, but is there anything that we can do as the average person to push back on this, maybe go on the offense?
Well, certainly we're trying to do that legally when it comes to challenging states who haven't even actually gone after physically the pregnancy resource centers and practitioners who want to speak about APR, but because it chills their speech, because it has that effect, because we know that they are hostile to the cause, because they know that others have been persecuted by these state attorneys general. I'm thinking of Attorney General Letitia James in New York, for example. That is itself a constitutional violation. And so we're hoping through these legal actions, others in other states who would do something like this will understand that it is unconstitutional to target and harass these pregnancy resource centers and these individuals who are just trying to supplement a woman's naturally occurring progesterone in order to help her make a choice that she herself has decided she wants to make. It is entirely not serving women when you say that there is an option out there that has worked in many cases, but we don't want women to even know about it. That is completely stripping them of their choice. And so the thing that, just the average American can do is just to let other people know about it. Talk about this. Try to provide support to your local pregnancy centers who are the ones who are at the front lines providing these resources for women. And that's not just supplemental progesterone and abortion pill reversal. That's also tangible resources. A lot of women say that they regret their abortions, and had they known that they had the support of a community like a pregnancy resource center, like a practitioner like Chelsea, they likely would not have made the decision that they made to have an abortion. So information is so powerful, and then we're doing the best that we can to discourage others from taking unconstitutional actions because of where the courts are going on this.
You all are doing such fantastic, wonderful work in this regard. And to the listener out there, I want to encourage you to visit our website, lifeissues.org. We put together a lot of those resources, that information that you can share with your friends, your family members. Dr. Delgado, as we talk about getting this information out there, what are some of the pieces of advice that you have for anyone who just wants to defend life to share the news about APR?
Well, I think I want to just touch back on what Gabriella said. And I'm the medical director of a nonprofit here in San Diego, Culture of Life Family Services. And we have preemptively sued the state of California for limiting free speech and our ability to practice medicine that we see fit around abortion pill reversal. So I encourage people to support efforts like this. ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom, is a great organization. The Beckett Fund and Thomas More Society, all great legal eagles who are representing people of goodwill and defending the right for us to do what's right for women and their babies. So support them. And I think everybody just needs to be aware of their sphere of influence, because all of us touch many people in our lives. And so I want all of you to tell people that abortion pill reversal is safe, it's effective, and that women who are given the opportunity to a second chance at life are extremely grateful. And that way, if a woman finds herself in that situation and she takes the abortion pill and has regret, then she'll immediately remember, oh yes, someone told me about abortion pill reversal. Or if she seeks counsel from a mentor or a friend, that friend hopefully will know about abortion pill reversal, and then she can tell her about it, and then they can go to abortionpillreversal.com and read up on abortion pill reversal and chat with the nurse, and then proceed if they want to go with choice. Because all of this, we're offering information, we're offering services, we're offering help, but we're never imposing. Unlike the other side, we truly are giving women free choice. We're just offering her another choice, a second chance at life.
Absolutely. And, Dr. Delgado, as you spoke about the safety of this, I think that's one of the really essential points in reminding people APR is safe, whether we're reminding the state of Colorado that APR is safe, or whether we're just reminding somebody who may not have heard much about this and they're scrambling for hope, but they might have that concern. Is it safe? Is this a safe thing for me to do? Talk about the safety of it. Is there anything that people need to be aware of, or are there any real risks with supplemental progesterone?
There really are not. And as Gabriella said, progesterone has been used in pregnancy for over 60 years. And the progesterone that we use is what we call bioidentical progesterone, which means on a molecular basis, once it gets in the body cannot tell the difference between the progesterone that's been taken by pill compared to what's been made by the body. They're molecularly identical. So that's why we call it bioidentical. So it's what the body makes. And progesterone is called progesterone precisely because of what it does. progestational steroid quinone. It is a progestational agent. It is for the pregnancy. Without progesterone, all pregnancies would end in miscarriage. So it's extremely important for pregnancy. The body makes a lot of it during pregnancy, and we're just giving a little bit more to fight that mifepristone. The FDA several years ago declared that progesterone is not associated with birth defects. So we're very happy with that. We know that in vitro fertilization doctors routinely put every woman who is pregnant after in vitro fertilization on progesterone to protect those early pregnancies. So they're very confident in the safety of it. As far as mifepristone itself, ACOG has stated that mifepristone does not cause birth defects. Our studies now looking at a total of over 1,100 patients have determined that the birth defect rate in women who have undergone abortion pill reversal is equal to or less than the birth defect rate in the general population. So we are very, very confident in the safety. We also have a new study that will looking at 880 women that we'll be publishing soon. In that study, we found that the adverse reactions and the risks and the side effects were very, very small, very minimal, showing that abortion pill reversal is very safe for women, and of course, it's safe for babies.
Dr. Delgado, I'm sure over the years you have seen so many stories with the thousands of babies that have been born as a result of this protocol. What are some of them that when you think back, it puts a smile on your face? What are your favorite stories that you remember about abortion pill reversal?
Well, one of my favorite is the first case that I had personally face-to-face in San Diego. And this, in my book, I have a section where women write their first story, first-hand accounts, and this one's in there. And this was Cynthia, who had taken the mifepristone because she and her boyfriend felt they weren't ready to be parents, they weren't married. And her mother actually encouraged her and gave her the money for the abortion. Then her mother had a change of heart and repented, and she tried to talk Cynthia into repenting. Cynthia begrudgingly finally talked to me on the phone, and after a few phone calls back and forth, she finally agreed to come into the office. I came with my wife, who's a registered nurse, who's there to help me. And my wife especially noticed this, that her arms were crossed, her gaze was diverted downwards. She really wasn't into it, being there. But she came anyway with her boyfriend, Jael. And then we put the ultrasound on her tummy. We saw the baby. We saw the baby's heartbeat. All of a sudden, her eyes opened up. She started crying. Jael started crying. Everybody was crying. And it was that moment that she decided, yes, I want to save my baby's life. So she started treatment right then there that night. And the pregnancy went very well. She delivered a baby that they named Christian. And he's a great boy. He's now getting ready, or has entered, or is getting ready to enter high school. The last interesting part of this, the two of them eventually got married, and they've had 2 other children. They have a beautiful family, a very faithful Catholic family. Then when she was writing her chapter for the book, she had left her computer open and she went off to go do something else. Christian himself had wandered over and looked at it, and he read it. He said, "Mom, that's about me, isn't it?" Because she hadn't told him. And she said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Wow, I'm a miracle baby." So that right there says it all. Just one miracle after one miracle. Tears of sadness turned to tears of joy. And truly, abortion pill reversal, in my mind, is such a wonderful metaphor for redemption, because the woman who would abort her baby now becomes the savior of her baby. So it's really a wonderful transformation, stories and stories of transformation.
And I want our listener to be very aware, consciously aware of the fact that that beautiful story that you just shared, Dr. Delgado, is exactly what these states are trying to prevent. When you hear a case like what Gabriella just described, and you hear the lives saved, I want people to think of that story you just told. Well, Dr. Delgado and Gabriella, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure being here.
Well, like I've said before, today we really were blessed to be joined by what I consider to be pro-life royalty. Dr. Delgado, as the founder of the APR network, really knows this topic more, I would say, than anybody else in the world. Having founded it, having seen it himself, he has the inside track. He really understands it. And to hear from him the exact details and the encouragement that this is safe, that progesterone has been used for many, many years, is really an important detail. And I want to encourage everyone who hears this to go and tell somebody that they know about abortion pill reversal, and also share the work that's being done by Gabriella and let everybody know, especially those who are able to prescribe progesterone, let them know that somebody has their back. We can stand together. That's such an important piece of this. Standing together to protect women, to protect their unborn babies. It can be made possible through abortion pill reversal. If you want to learn more about this and get tangible resources and information that you can share with your friends, your family members, your community, go to our website, lifeissues.org, where you'll find all that and more. Again, that's lifeissues.org. Be sure to tune in next week for another Straight Talk on Life Issues.